Another E3 has come and gone, and now that we've had a couple of weeks to digest all of the latest and greatest coming out of the big AAA developers, it's time to sift through it all and give you our thoughts on the best, worst, and indifferent of the annual-only press event. So what got us all excited? What got a resounding meh? What new toys will further add misery to electronics peons in retail stores everywhere as they have to explain the difference between two very similarly named devices to ignorant parents for the 8 billionth time? We recap E3 2017 right here on Downloadable Content next. Hello everyone, welcome to Downloadable Content. I am Brian, and with me we have Ron.
Hey everyone.
And we have Nick.
Now he's making self-induced ringing voices in his head.
That's part of the latest upgrade. There'll be a patch for that.
Yeah, it'll be patched out within a week.
Yep, there'll be a patch for that. This is early access, Nick. It's
Got a few bugs in the system. We're still in beta.
Yes.
Some of which include folding ragdoll body physics.
That'll happen.
Yeah.
But yes, we're going to be talking about E3 2017 now that it's been a couple of weeks since the event, and we've had time to digest it all, give you our best, worst, and indifferent. But before we dive into all of that, just want to let everyone know that every single episode of Downloadable Content can be found on our website at dlcpodcast.com. Every single episode is there. They're also on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, and Google Play Music. You can also check out the upcoming schedule for upcoming recordings. Let us know if you want to be in on an episode. Give us feedback. It's all there, dlcpodcast.com. And one actual bit of housekeeping before we dive into the discussion of E3. This is actually the first time I'm announcing it on Downloadable Content. This is a shameless plug for my final character battle contest. Character Battle 19 Poke Battle. It consists of a single elimination tournament. 128 Pokemon chosen mostly at random. You guys make a tournament bracket kind of similar to something like March Madness. You predict who's going to win round by round, battle by battle. You gain points, and at the end of it, the top people who have the most points will win prizes from yours truly.
Come on, Brian. We're almost at over 1,000 Pokemon. You easily could do 1,024 bracket.
Oh my! There's 802 Pokemon. You know how long that would take?
Forever.
Assuming 2 votes a day, probably 6 months.
Oh.
That was the sound of disgust from Brian right now.
Well, I mean, already it's 128 Pokemon, so it's going to be about 2.5 months long. And as again, it's the final contest I am doing for real this time. This is my 19th character battle contest. I've been doing these since 2004, and now I feel it is time. The time is right to let that go gracefully into the sunset. Yeah, I started these when I was 18, and now I'm 31. It's...
Brian, no offense, dude. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. The writing has kind of been on the wall for a while now, as we've all gotten older and things like jobs, careers, and some of us are starting families. It's like, oh, people don't have time to waste on stupid shit like a character battle contest. They've got to get food on the table. So, the declining people, the declining amount of people who have been taking part in these contests have basically said, all right, yeah, it's time. So the last contest I did, I only had 7 people, which was my worst turnout ever. And so I'm hoping that this last one, which consists of Pokemon and Pokemon only, will draw up some interest. All the information you need to sign up for this contest is on the downloadable content website. Near the top, there's a big button that says Character Battle 19. All the information you need to create your tournament brackets are there. And so you have until July 3rd to make a bracket. And the contest begins on July 5th and will probably run through roughly mid-September. So there are prizes to be had, and it costs nothing to enter. It's completely free. So yes, it's Character Battle 19 Poke Battle. My final, absolute, for real, final Character Battle contest. So that's that. All right. Now that I've gotten all that out of the way, let's dive into the E3 that we just had. And as per usual, we're going to go through this in conference order. So we're actually going to open up the discussion with EA. They went first.
2 days before the conference, and they seem to go earlier and earlier with each passing year. Soon enough, we'll be starting in April.
I was at the Albany Renaissance Fair, and so I wasn't checking my phone or anything like that, and I come back home, and I'm seeing people talk about E3 already, and I'm looking, I'm like, wait a minute, doesn't E3 start in a few days? Why are we doing conferences 3 days before the event?
Because what they did for this year, they decided in their infinite wisdom was, because E3 is open to the public, let's do the conferences before everything opens up, so that way people know what to go look for and basically play when they get into the exhibitor hall.
The problem is that this is EA, so they set up all their booths so that people know to walk in the opposite direction.
Him mostly.
Zing! That's
okay, to be fair, from what I heard, basically the most played things was flipping Call of Duty 2 and Destiny.
Well,
and I'm just like,
so I'm going through and I'm like, all right, let's see. EA opened up first, so I suspected, my first thought was, okay, apparently, did they actually do their conference, or did they not have DRM? Could they not connect to the internet to access their presentation?
I don't know.
But,
I did mostly watch the conferences live. I think the EA was the only one I didn't watch live. No way, I didn't watch the Nintendo one live either. That one I watched on just a regular video. But honestly, I know people joke about skipping the sports block of EA. So in their infinite wisdom, they decided, oh, we're going to do our sports stuff interspersed throughout the conference. So it was literally, here's a video game, sports game. Here's a video game, sports game. Here's a video game, another sports game. Here's a video game, yet another sports game. Here's a video game, Madden.
Well, the good thing with all that, in between showing games and sports games, it gives reporters time to actually write all the stuff down on the games while the sports things are going.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I'm like, all right, let's see. So E3 announced, let's see, and I bet you, I did not watch a drop of the EA conference even after it. So I bet you they announced, let's see, I'm guessing another FIFA, another Madden, maybe a Star Wars.
There was Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yes, there was.
Okay, Brian, here's what I'll say for you. The thing that you probably will care about most out of EA's conference is a game called A Way Out. It's a new IP being made by the guys who did Brothers, some indie title. look up the trailer for this, Brian. I'm going to do my best to describe it. It seems to be it is a co-op game, as in you can't play this game without 2 players.
Okay.
And it is a co-op adventure, based on what I saw. Co-op adventure game between 2 prisoners in a jail who are looking to break out of the place, and it looks to be set in like the 50s and the 70s, based on like clothing and hairstyles and like language used and cars in the game. It's like it seems to be talking about like how these 2 prisoners both break out of and remain on the lam from the law, and the various options and choices you have to like say escaping and running away, and how you break out and things like that.
Brian, it seems that this is made by the same guys who made Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons.
That's
so if you played that, it's the same people.
Yeah, which I have not, so...
well, there you go.
I will have to look at that, and I will notch that. The other big name that I heard was a game called Anthem.
That was fucking... EA basically said, oh, we're ending our conference with this. And they show this little trailer of like a sci-fi, like Lost Planet looking thing. And they pop up with Anthem. And it says, at the very end of the trailer, watch the Microsoft press conference tomorrow for more information. It was a teaser of a trailer of a future trailer. Fuck off.
It's like going to a movie theater and watching the movie, and like 20 minutes in, it's like, check out part 2 coming out in 2019.
Oh my god. So basically EA put out a trailer for the trailer.
Yeah. and that was the thing, like to put a nice little bow on EA's thing is like, okay, all joking aside, they did have some important things. There's a Battlefield 1 expansion dealing with the Russian front of World War I. Like, that's kind of cool, if for nothing else, and to watch it literally just be Russia throwing bunches of bodies at the German forces until winter happens. There was a Need for Speed game. They showed Star Wars Battlefront 2. And like they showed, like they listened to the community for about the complaints they had for Star Wars Battlefront 1, and then they're adding in the things that people wanted to see, and it looks like they're going to be a pretty cool game there. But all in all, it was just like these were things we knew were going to be happening beforehand, either just due to like, it's EA, we knew half of the games what they were going to be already because they're sports games, and the other half was just like, okay, come and surprise us. And the only thing that really surprised people was the Anthem thing.
Which we will then talk more about when we get to Microsoft.
Which, honestly, is actually up next.
So, overall, it appears that just from the discussion and just from what I saw online, it looked like EA basically announced kind of more of the same.
Yeah, pretty much.
They announced more of the same. Like, a way out is like the most interesting thing that they showed, other than Anthem. But again, we only get so much on the Anthem front. So,
all right. So, moving right along, then we will shift to Microsoft. They were next on the queue. I did see pieces of this conference. I did watch some of it, and I'm just going to get this right out of the way because this was very, very sort of annoying to me. We had been hearing about this new console called Project Scorpio, and then when Microsoft finally unveiled it, the Xbox One X, and I was just like, really?
Brian, break it down into what the what would be the letters here that would be capitalized? It breaks down into X, B, O, X.
Yeah, I know they were getting very cutesy with the naming.
I personally like the internet's other name for it, the Triple X, because of all the things that implies.
Oh yes, and I'm like, okay, so it's going to be a $500 console. Goes on sale in early November, and I'm looking at this going, and my first thing was like, oh god, those poor electronics associates at Walmart and Target and Best Buy.
God,
and,
oh my fucking god, yeah.
So what do we got?
Like,
we got the Xbox One, the Xbox One S, and the Xbox One X.
Because, they didn't sound familiar as is.
And I'm like, are you trying to be Nintendo, Microsoft?
Good, I wasn't the first person who thought that.
I'm like, you have Nintendo with the new 2D. Oh god. Anyway,
to be fair to Microsoft, they did basically say, because I need to play devil's advocate here if no one else will.
Okay, fine, go ahead.
If you already have an original Xbox One, fine, whatever. Good for you. We already got your money out of you. But if you're someone looking to invest new into the thing, the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X are your two options. There is no generic Xbox One, because they have the standard version and then the extreme version, or whatever the fuck they want to hype it up as. The thing with this one is that I guess it's notable for the fact that it is a 4K ready console, which not even Microsoft, not even Sony can be like, oh, we have a 4K ready console. Like, even the Pro cannot do 4K. So, I guess good on Microsoft for having a 4K console. Good luck finding a 4K TV that's actually pretty decent and it's not less than $1,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say, all right, it's fine. It's got super 4K 10 million p graphics. Who can afford a 4K TV or monitor?
So, people with money.
Yeah.
Not me then.
Not me either.
Or people with mom's credit card. That's what they're hoping for, basically. So to go to the games they had, I will say this, again, to give Microsoft a little bit of credit, they did need to say that they have a bunch of games for their console, because currently they don't have shit. And they said they were going to show 42 games, 20 of them being console exclusives to Xbox One. Although by console exclusive, I mean time console exclusive, because I can't imagine all 22 of these people being like, oh, no, we're gonna stay with Xbox One because it's the only system that's actually good for us, and now look at all the money they can make with Sony's PlayStation 4, because holy fuck, what is it, a 2-to-1 advantage Sony has over Microsoft right now?
Yeah. Good luck getting it released in Japan. But
Hey! But we have now Minecraft in 4K.
with a super graphics expansion pack.
Those blocks, man.
I saw that and I immediately thought of the trailer for Battle Block Theater when they came out on Steam. They were just making fun of, like, the Battle Block Theater on Steam with 1 million p graphics and can support up to 8 Oculuses and 8 million gigs of RAM, and that's what I thought as they were showing off the Xbox One X or the Xbox porn whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, so, all right, so this is going to cater, this console, to a very small percentage of the gaming market because, again, not many of us, I'm willing to suspect, have 4K monitors or TVs, so at $500, this console is going to seem like a gigantic waste, I feel.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Joshy could not be on this episode. He wanted to be, but he had to bow out. So I told him that I was going to miss his ranting. And he said, fine. and he said to me on Facebook, he said, all right, fine. At $499, it's $499 is going to make the Xbox One X go nowhere. Done.
To give Microsoft a little bit of credit here.
Why?
For what's in the system, for how much power-wise this thing is pretty rock solid, and it's the only gaming system out there outside of PCs to actually have liquid cooling stock. For everything that's in this machine, $500 is actually a pretty fair price. Where Microsoft's biggest problem lies is precisely what we're talking about here, the games or the lack of. Some of these look really good, but I think Microsoft is going to be done in by its own hubris because of the Microsoft Play Anywhere platform, where I can pick up most of these games for my PC and completely forego getting an Xbox One X. Yeah. So I don't have to, dump $500 on a system to go play Sea of Thieves, which looks very good. Super Lucky's Tale, which seems to be a very niche indie title.
It's aimed at the kid. It is literally a 7 or 8 year old platformer for Mario that for this generation.
I mean,
which is fine.
It still looks neat. And of course, the one that I'm personally looking forward to, which is Cuphead. That does really look like a good the 40s Disney style.
Not even 40s. This is 1920s. We're going back to the old days when a Pepsi was 5 cents and racism was rampant throughout the country. Wait, hang on. One of these days, not like the other. Pepsi's like $2 now. But to also go along with you, Nick, Metro Exodus was like a really cool trailer and really unexpected. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds being on the console is pretty cool. State of Decay 2 they showed. Arxis is doing a fighter game for Dragon Ball, which if you guys don't know Arxis, look up Guilty Gear. It is like 2D.
The fighting game community has lost their damn minds over this.
They're like, oh my god, Dragon Ball, which is already a really fun anime series for the fighting community, just because of all the stupid bullshit that goes on in it. And not to mention that Dragon Ball is seeing a resurgence with Dragon Ball Super, and then they go, wait, so you're gonna give us an anime fighting game that looks really good, like it came out of cells of an anime, and it's being made by the people that do 2D, basically 2D animated, legal porn. Yes, please. Give. Let's see, other things. The Last Night looks interesting. It's that, sprite, it's the sprite foreground, but, the super detailed Shadowrun background thing they showed off. Cuphead, you said.
I don't know if this was Microsoft or no, that definitely wasn't Sony. But we're getting another Call of Cthulhu, so that'll make Brian happy.
I've never played the Call of Cthulhu games, so I really shouldn't. I'm just looking because, for me personally, because I don't own a PS4 or an Xbox One, I'm basically looking to see, alright, how many of these are going to eventually hit PC? And a good chunk of them are.
Yeah, that was the thing to go along with what Nick says. Most of these things we're talking about that, oh, look, this is an Xbox exclusive. No, wait, it's also on Windows 10. So, fuck you, I don't need to buy your fucking $500 paperweight.
Ha-ha!
Your liquid cooled paperweight, I can play it on my PC.
So there.
Other things, there's a prequel for Life is Strange coming out. Ori and the Blind Forest 2. So it's called Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Oh, I saw that. That game in particular. Now, you know, Ron, how much I love the original Ori and the Blind Forest. I mean,
yes,
this game literally, you know, I hear the soundtrack and I start weeping. It's just such an amazing, beautiful game. And Wyatt messaged me during their conferences that they've announced an Ori 2, and I saw I waited until they put up everything, and I saw the trailer, and that's going to be a day one purchase when that comes out.
Yeah, because no way in hell is that not being on PC and PlayStation and probably the
That'll
Switch.
be on Steam. That'll definitely be on Steam.
Well, I mean, Ori is on Steam, so I'm going to bet that Ori 2 is going to hit Steam, and when it does, that'll be an instant buy.
Yeah. So to continue what we started with about 15-20 minutes ago, they end their conference with showing off the teaser from EA from yesterday. They show off this quote unquote, again, like hype word bullshit. Insert hype words here. Huge open world, lush savage environments, dynamic gameplay, and like fucking give us a goddamn trailer is what I'm thinking when I'm hearing them talk about this. And they finally showed off the trailer for Anthem, and it's like a 3-4 minute trailer, roughly. I don't know about you guys, but at the end of this, I thought, okay, so you're giving us Destiny, only probably better than Destiny because you're actually exploring the world you built and not just putting it on a rail shooter with some very minor exploration.
No. I would say it's kind of one part Destiny. Yeah, Destiny's a good one, better than the one I used, which was Borderlands, but Destiny's a closer match. Kind of looked like a mix between Titanfall and Destiny. That's what it seems like to me.
I kind of feel like Titanfall, Destiny, and Lost Planet.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. It seems completely unoriginal, though.
Which is BioWare. I mean, let's be honest. BioWare the past 5 years hasn't really been original, but
no.
If they can take something and refine it and actually make it from decent to good or from good to great, I'm okay with it. Although I would love to see them go back and do like more original stuff.
If there's any company that's gonna, at least make something solid, BioWare looks like they have that system down there. It's not going to be anything original. It's not going to be anything that blows your mind. But for the people who have stuck with EA through and through and played the Battlefield games and gonna play the Battlefront games, they're probably seeing Anthem and are going to be very excited for what it's going to offer them when it comes out. For people like us, it's completely uninspiring. And, that's to their credit.
Now, me, not having played Destiny, I saw that comparison being thrown around a lot. So, I mean, I do not know what Destiny consisted of, not having seen it. So, I saw this trailer, but I felt, I watched the trailer and I kind of went, eh? And the fact that it's going to have its usual spiel of it's always online, you must always on internet connection. That kind of makes me a little wary, just personally.
Brian, we say Destiny, like style of gameplay. What it basically means is it's a third-person over-the-shoulder shooter with Diablo loot elements.
All right.
Yeah, it's kind of like a shooter RPG, pretty much. Gain levels, gain experience. There's different tiers of loot, ranging from common to legendary. Legendaries are, if it's anything like Borderlands, are going to be an absolute pain in the ass to get. So, it's nothing that we haven't seen before, but again, for what it's worth, people who really enjoyed the Destiny-style games are probably looking at Anthem and are very, very excited. And again, to EA's credit, they're cashing in on a very popular game style right now. So, this game I think will sell well. This game this game probably will even play well. But am I going to rush out with my $60 and say, give me a copy? No. It's because I've already played all these types of games before. I have little interest of really playing with a whole lot of other people. You guys know by now I'm pretty much a solo gamer, and it just doesn't appeal to me.
Fair enough.
My thing is that I need more information. I need to hear more on the thing. And let's be honest, that game ain't coming out this year. Probably ain't coming out until very late 2018.
You might be right. And that's another thing that I've noticed, looking at these conferences and whatnot. It's very hard for me personally to get excited for a game that's not coming out for at least 1 and possibly 2 years. But that's just me. Like, let me know what I am looking forward to, say, this holiday season, as opposed to, a year or two from now. So, but that's a personal preference. I mean, I'm looking at some of the other games that were talked about, and there's some interest there. I know that a lot of people, I have some friends who love State of Decay. That's getting a sequel. There's a game called Vampire, which is an action role-playing game that looks somewhat interesting to me. You mentioned Cuphead. That looks like fun.
Cuphead, from what my understanding, is basically like a bullet hell style game, or
it's like
I don't know
Metal
if it's
Slug out of 1920s. It's like
I'm looking at the graphics and I'm like, holy shit! I grew up with these cartoons. It's just
yeah, no, like this would be like, oh look, I'm playing a 1920s cartoon complete with like screen tearing and broken film cells, like the washout graphic, the washout colors, the weird ass sounds.
Like you're looking at classic animation. It's a classic hand-drawn animation, so that looks really cool. I need to play
Cuphead. Sorry, go ahead.
I need to play the first Evil Within game because I see that there's the Evil Within 2.
Oh god, that was really fucking creepy. It's just fucking Evil Within. I'm not Brian, Nick. I think you guys know this. I am not a horror game person.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
No, I'm not either. I'm not either.
I'm like, okay, I can get behind like the mental horror, like the cerebral horror things. I'm not a big fan of like the gore horror, like your Saws and whatnot. And I look at Evil Within and I'm like, this looks really fucking creepy. I'm sure it would scare the pants off of me. So no, thank you.
Yeah, with you on that. Just anything that has to use like jump scares and whatnot, or any of the psychological horror is just one big fat no.
So Silent Hill is right out. It's a
Brian. Why do you think I don't like horror games anymore?
I can barely handle the GameCube one.
Eternal Darkness.
Thank you.
Oh.
Yeah, I can barely handle that.
Oh,
Brian, why do you think I don't play horror games anymore? What do you think Brian? So, I don't think I've told you this actually. So this is a DLC thingy.
Oh, new story time.
Stories.
Yes. Story time. Story time with Ron. Here's 10-year-old Ron. 10 years old?
No.
Yes, 10 years old probably.
Flashback.
Here's 10-year-old Ron, who has his PlayStation, and his sister, who is 8 years old. And her sister picked up this new game called Silent Hill. And she's like, I'm having trouble getting past a certain thing. I need you to help beat it for me because you're a better gamer than me. For having my sister say this, it's like fucking getting mana from the gods. And it's like, alright, fine. Yeah. So, cue me playing this, and I'm like, okay, this is really weird. This is really creepy. Oh god, I got killed by dogs. Oh wait, that was actually supposed to happen. Now I'm in this really foggy town. Now I'm in this school. Oh god, why are there blood coming out of the walls? What happened to the school? And I'm like halfway through this, and I'm like, this can't be a game she could have, this isn't a game that even I'm supposed to play. And I look at the package, sure enough, rated M for mature. And I look at my sister, and I'm like, Mom said you could buy this. My sister replies, yes? I'm just like,
And Ron's mind is broken.
You tried beating the first Silent Hill and were scarred for life.
I beat the first Silent Hill mostly with my sister watching. And at the end of it all, I'm just like, vomit. Just like, no more. None of this, no more. And
And that didn't even have Pyramid Head in it.
Oh, it didn't. That was mostly just like really fucking creepy music and soundtrack and the fucking screeching radio whenever a bad guy got near you. And
the radio that would start making lots of static when there were enemies nearby. And I mean, and so you got scared shitless out of the first Silent Hill and never again.
Yeah, I wasn't really big on horror movies either up at that point, and that was kind of like the final nail in the coffin of like, yeah, no, this definitely isn't for me.
Meanwhile, I've played nearly every Silent Hill, Resident Evil, Eternal Darkness. I don't like I can get behind like the psychological. Like I could probably enjoy Eternal Darkness and like the Cthulhu related things. Like I would probably enjoy those because I appreciate the man is not smart enough to deal with the eldritch horrors from beyond the veil. Oh yeah, and that's why I love H.P. Lovecraft and Edgar Allan Poe so much, which is what these games are based off of, because it just goes to prove to you that mankind is just an insignificant snot in the grand scheme of things, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, and like I can get behind those. Like those I can get behind because I can understand those thoughts. I can see how people think that and want to be part of something better when for all the flailing we do on this little spinning blue ball, it probably won't amount to a whole hell of a lot. I can get behind that like existential worthlessness because that's called the 21st century.
So
but to send us back to E3, Microsoft, your liquid cooling console is $500. Okay, it probably going to cost you guys money to sell these things out of the gate. Maybe you'll make your money back. But almost all the games you showed that made me even remotely interested are also coming to Windows 10. So fuck your console. I'm going to play it on my PC.
Basically,
pretty much.
Basically, that was my thoughts exactly. All right, let's move on. We next up on our list is Bethesda, also known as all Skyrim and Fallout all the time.
I don't know if you can hear this, Brian. This is me getting warmed up for Bethesda.
You warned me like a week ago that you have a rant built up for this, so you've got pent up rage. You're awake now.
Yeah, I
am gonna go ahead and mute the mic and just let Ron go.
So I will start by going through all of Bethesda's conference. They start with this like theme land thingy called Bethesda Land. This theme park that we're gonna do for our people in the exhibit hall, for them to experience the games that we have in this like themed booths and things like that. And it's like, oh cool, you're gonna have this like cutesy fun little thing for us to do and watch. Yeah. And like, oh look, they're gonna okay. It's okay. And like, okay, we're gonna start off with some VR stuff. Okay, is there anything new? No. Is it things you told us last year about? Yes. Are they coming out tomorrow? No. Why do we care then? But they go with showing off Doom VR, which I would vomit playing that. Oh my.
You gotta spin around in Doom a whole lot to begin with. To do that in VR would just be...
Yeah.
But what they showed
that'd be nauseating.
What they showed, it's not even like you doing normal Doom gameplay. It's like, oh look, here's a bunch of bad guys running at me. I'm going to shoot them. Now I need to move. All right, well, I'm going to literally pause the game, move a cursor around until I move to where I want to be, and then teleport to that location.
See, I already get motion sickness from playing BioShock, for fuck's sake. Anything VR, just even like, it's just
yeah. And then here's the thing: they do the exact same thing for Fallout 4 VR. You don't even like move like you don't even move the analog stick. You move the analog stick to teleport somewhere.
But you can't fast travel when enemies are nearby.
Yeah, basically. Like, look at a death claw. Nope, I'm gonna teleport the opposite direction. Then they show off more Elder Scrolls Online stuff. Like, okay, we know you guys do Elder Scrolls Online. Like, we know you guys just put out a new expansion pack. Are you gonna do another one? No! We're just gonna show you that we have this thing that came out like 2 weeks ago that you should go check out. Alright, fine. And like the entire point of this while they're going on, it's like tongue-in-cheek, lots of layers of sarcasm. Like there's something like really weird and like I'm getting this like weird feeling watching this. Of like I feel like it's just being one giant prank played upon us. Then they show off this thing called Creation Club, which is paid mod / DLC for their fucking games being made by the community. Note, the last time they tried to do this, Steam immediately pulled the plug on this and said, no, fuck you guys, you're trying to monetize your modding community.
Yeah,
And they're trying to do it again, only this time they're doing it through their own proprietary software. Then they show off their digital card game, announcing a Skyrim expansion, which is coming out probably by the time this podcast gets dropped. Now they're showing Skyrim on the Switch. At this point in time, I'm starting to lose interest in Bethesda's conference. Then they showed Dishonored 2 DLC. I'm like, okay, this looks kind of interesting. I never really got into the Dishonored series, but I know it's a relatively pretty good game. And it looks like they're introducing some characters from the old DLC, from the prior DLCs, and they're going after the mysterious, like, Wanderer, Messenger, the guy who gives you your magical powers in the game, like for the PZs. And I'm like, okay, this was kind of cool. And then they go to Quake Champions, a game that most people kind of forgot even existed, and they're trying to hype it up as an esport. And I'm just like, why are you guys doing this? You're spending 5 minutes on this freaking game that most people forgot about because, quite honestly, Quake gameplay and gunplay, while interesting and cool, is also from 2002. And people want something that's a little bit more crunchy. Because it's kind of... it's very mechanics input heavy. And if you're not a god at FPS games, this isn't... Most people are going to be frustrated with it. They show Evil Within 2 again, and they get more Evil Within 2 stuff. I'm like, that looks cool. So I'm like, oh, here's something for the horror crowd. And then they go on to show Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. And like, okay, I can get behind Wolfenstein 2. Like the first one, and of like the new thing was like the alternate universe, like well, if the Nazis won World War II and like that sort of thing.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh look. Like, these are all these things that you guys have announced. Like, it's either out, or it's coming out by the end of the year. Like, okay, cool, I can get behind that. I like this. Now show us what's coming in the future. Let's show us what's going to come in 2018. Wait, what do you mean that's the end of the conference? What do you mean that's the end of the conference? You got 15 minutes still! You have 15 more minutes to show off something! You guys reserved an hour block! Paid more in hall paid a whole bunch of money for your hall and for your exhibitors and to reserve time for people on Twitch and on Kotaku and whatever site you use to watch E3. Not to mention this is also on like a Friday or a Saturday night, and it's being aired at 10 p.m.
This
PST.
is prime time.
Yeah, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's 1 a.m. on the East Coast. It was midnight for me watching this bullcrap. And then they end with like 15, 20 minutes to spare. What the fuck? Everything you just showed could have been shown at like Microsoft, could have been shown at Sony, could have been shown on the fucking Nintendo Switch conference. No, instead you guys decided to waste all your money for a conference that you like no one knew that conference was ending there. Literal no one. They finished the conference and they show the screen and then they had some band play, some EDM music group, I don't know, Chainsmokers or something like that. I don't know what that is. Like some EDM group. And like they have them come on stage and start playing music for like the people that are there. And like I was watching on a Twitch stream and Twitch didn't know that was the end of the conference. They thought they were being trolled because they were going to do like an after part, like they were going to do like an after show to talk about Bethesda's conference. Like they didn't know they were ending there. They had to throw up a quick little like, be right back, coming back in like a little timer for them to get to rush back over to their like post game, like post conference stage and talk about stuff. Like I everything they showed, literally everything they showed, could have just been like, oh, here's just us reminding you of it. That it's like us reminding you of it, and then like the three things that are actually new, which is Dishonored 2 DLC, Evil Within 2, and Wolfenstein 2. These things could have been shown at Microsoft or at Sony or at Nintendo. And again, I'm just going to go back to it. You guys had 15 to 20 minutes left. This is done ranting, pure speculation. 100% pure speculation here. I think they did have and one more thing planned. I think they did have something in mind that they were going to show off a new IP or Elder Scrolls 6 or something like that. I think they were going to do that. But I think something happened at the last minute that fucked up so bad that they just decided that we have to end the conference after showing off Wolfenstein 2 because they couldn't even announce whatever this new thing was because whatever fuck up happened was so huge that they just was like, we can't even risk showing this on E3 and being like, this is pre-alpha footage or pre-beta footage and like things here are not set in stone. Like something, again, if they were going to show something and they decided not to, they must have had a real huge fuck up. But again, that's all pure speculation. Based on this conference of what it is, this is easily the worst conference in the past 5 years. And that's saying something. I'm done. You can guys talk now.
You good?
Good. I'm good.
You got that out of your system?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So let's dissect a little bit of this. The thing that besides the fact that it sounds like that this conference really didn't need to exist at all, the thing that actually, I really didn't care about all the other stuff, but the fact that the thing that irked me the most, because I know it's going to sell like hotcakes, is Skyrim coming to Switch.
With the Zelda amiibo being compatible.
Yes, and with Link's outfit from Breath of the Wild.
And sword, and shield.
So, that pissed me right the fuck off. Because, you know me. I hate when developers go for the low-hanging fruit and release a straight port on everything. This is going to be the third re-release of Skyrim.
Brian, 6 years old.
I know.
It's 6 years old.
I know. They're trying to do a Capcom with Resident Evil 4. They're
trying to do a Capcom period.
And
just like Street Fighter, Resident Evil, like anything Capcom's made that they've redone and rehashed a million times.
So this pissed me off, and I know it's going to sell like hotcakes because Skyrim is, this is going to be the first time that Skyrim, as big a game as that is, becomes portable.
Yep.
Truly.
It's also the first Elder Scrolls game on a Nintendo console, as far as I think.
Yes, and this is going to sell like hotcakes, and it pisses me the fuck off because it's a cash grab. There is literally nothing new about this game besides Link's stuff. That's it.
Yeah.
How much are they going to charge for it? Are they going to charge the full 60?
Probably 40.
I probably doubt it. I could see it being a 40, for example,
Which
but
is still 20 too much at least.
I'd say 40. Everything they showed is either out or it's coming out by the end of the year. Like, okay, these are things that we already knew were coming out too. What's the thing that makes us excited about your company in 2018? Where's that? Where's the thing that makes us go, oh, look, here's this great new thing coming out in 2018 by Bethesda. I can't wait for that to come out. I can't wait to build up hype for this. I can't wait to talk about this and play this.
I think it's going to be called Quake Champions. Which is just, it's not a whole lot to get hyped about. It really is just kind of a, I kind of just looked at Bethesda's conference and said, why'd you show up?
Yeah.
They mailed it in.
They didn't even mail it in. I just feel like they walked up to the presenters and said, "Here's our cardboard cutout poster board," and they basically recycled everything they did from last year's show. That was it. All
right. So one more before we cut to break. Anyone catch the PC gaming show conference?
Nope.
Nobody did. Okay.
So from what I heard, I didn't think anything good got announced.
No, I heard it was a train wreck last year. I watched some of it and was like, oh wow, this is hard to watch. And then Ubisoft came out. I was like, oh thank God. something else to watch, and it was Ubisoft wasn't bad last year, but yeah, the PC show was rough last year, and this year I guess was even worse. I didn't even bother watching it, but from what I heard, it was not pretty.
Alrighty then. In that case, since we are reaching the 1 hour mark on this first half, we will cut to break then. We will make like Bethesda and just give you some music for nothing. And when we come back, we've got on our slate, we've got Ubisoft, Sony, Nintendo. We'll talk about indie titles that appealed to us, and we'll have some final thoughts there. But in the meantime, music for you. Ron will continue to vent off camera, off mic, and maybe punch a bear or something because Ron smash. It's
You mean punch the bear or bears?
However,
they're having a pretty bad off season.
Both probably at this rate.
just yes. So we'll be back. You're listening to our E3 2017 roundup here on Downloadable Content. Welcome back to our E3 roundup here on Downloadable Content. I think Ron has calmed down a bit. He punched some dragons. He's just taking everything out on Bethesda. He's just...
It was 20 minutes of Dragon Ball Z screaming. So...
on the next episode... Yes. And keep that going for 6 years ad nauseum. But yes... We press on then. We're going to open the second half of the next one. We're going to talk about Ubisoft to kick things off here.
You know, Ubisoft is in for a good time when they open the show with Mia fucking Moto.
Brian, like you were not here for this. You were at Ren Fair, right?
Yes, I was at Ren Fair.
Oh, Brian, you like. I heard about this game. The game we're talking about here is Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. I heard about this game literally 2 days before they showed it at the conference. And they said, okay, this is going to be a Mario from, like literal Mario from Nintendo, plus the Rabbids from Ubisoft. And I'm like, how can this possibly work? Like, the Rabbids are really freaking, like, kooky, weird, meta, derpy buttheads, for lack of a better term. I think I described it pretty well.
You kind of trailed off there at the end there, but B+, good job.
Yeah. And I'm like, how is this going to work? Well, they doubled down on the weirdness by having it be an XCOM tactical RPG game set in the Mushroom Kingdom world.
Wyatt he messaged me while I was at Fair, so I'm looking at my messages at the end of the day, and he said, Brian, I think Ubisoft is making this game for me.
Yeah.
That sounds like Wyatt in a nutshell, actually.
Yeah. Like I'm watching this thing, and they're like, I'm really happy that we've been able to work with Nintendo on this. And I'm really happy I've been able to work with this man. Cue the fog machine as the de-icing process begins, and Miyamoto walks out of the shadows.
Did they have the final countdown playing?
No,
but like. He walks up on the stage carrying a life-size replica of one of the guns that's used in the game.
The Bullet Bill Blaster.
Yeah, you know... Okay, so this is what Wyatt exactly messaged me. He said, so the Mario and Raving Rabbit game is the thing I never realized I needed.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I thought when I was watching this, because I knew about this game for months.
And
like, it was circling the rumor mills, and it was like, wait... So it's an RPG. It's Mario and Rabbids, but we knew like little else after that. Like a week before the conference, we found out it's a tactical RPG with shooting elements, and we went, the actual fuck.
And
Brian,
what? And watch this trailer, and I go, I don't know what makes me upset more. The fact that there really is a Mario and Rabbids game, and the Rabbids, I like their cartoon, but everything else about them I think is just a joke. Or the fact that I actually really want to play this, I think this is going to be a really good game.
Brian, like, the best way I can think of this is, it's Kingdom Hearts all over again. This is Kingdom Hearts, Brian! This is the mashup of peanut butter and chocolate that we didn't think would ever happen. Only it is, and oh my god, it's going to be delicious.
You know, I then looked to see what was going on with this game, and then Wyatt continued. He said, I said, this game looks nuts, and he said, I know, they were thinking about me specifically, and I said, well, good, Senpai noticed you.
But, like, legitimately,
now,
this looks really good. This looks really fun.
And he said it... Now, I am not a fan of strategy RPGs. We know this. And he said that if any game is going to get me into strategy RPGs, this is going to be it.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can bring up the... Oh, here it is. I'm going to drop this off for you. And because they managed on their website to break down a whole bunch of the characters and whatnot. And, so, a lot of the... just to kind of give a breakdown of the game. I just love the fact that Ubisoft has enough tongue-in-cheek humor that there are 8 playable characters in the game. Luigi is one of them, and his special ability is the Death Stare from Mario Kart 8. I'm glad that Ubisoft has enough tongue-in-cheek humor.
Now, this image really is the image of this year's E3. I mean, that's just...
Pretty much!
That's the winner right there.
It's like... This is the thing we didn't know needed to exist until today, and we're so glad it exists now.
I saw it after the fact, and my jaw dropped, and I went, "Holy shit!"
Here's the best part about this whole Mario Raving Rabbids game. But when the game was first announced, again in the months well before E3, the internet basically turned this into the laughing stock. Like, this is so dumb. Why do we need this? After the trailer and the game demo debuted at E3, the internet's opinion of this completely went 180.
It went from why does this exist to why does this not exist right now? Like, why am I not playing this right now? And like, it's not even that far away. This thing comes out at the end of September. Or no, August. I'm sorry, August. This thing comes out in 2 months.
And on the Switch. So it's
yeah. Like, oh my god. Like all joking aside, Nintendo really wants third-party games. They gave Ubisoft. Let me emphasize this once again. Nintendo gave Ubisoft Mario. Yeah. And this is what Ubisoft has made.
Miyamoto said, "Here, Ubisoft, here's the Mushroom Kingdom. Have fun."
Miyamoto gave it to Ubisoft, but and because they would talk about this at the conference, Miyamoto said, "I'm giving you this on one condition. Don't make a Mario game. Make something we've never seen before." Well, they delivered.
We haven't seen this.
This is a pre-order. This is a
yes, it is. It is definitely a pre-order.
This is the pre-order it now. This thing is going to be almost certainly going to be worth the money you plop down on it.
Yes, absolutely.
So it just looks fun. I am gonna pick this up and give it a whirl. So after that incredible silliness,
they go to equal silliness of a different order by going back to fucking ancient Egypt for Assassin's Creed Origins.
So I've not played the more recent Assassin's Creed games. Either one of you two? Brian, no. I don't think you're completely unfamiliar with the series. Ron?
I played like Assassin's Creed 1 and Assassin's Creed 2. And by Assassin's Creed 2, I literally do mean just Assassin's Creed 2. I haven't played any of the PS2 sequels or any of that shit.
So I'm in your boat, Ron. Like, I've played the first 2 games. I'm almost, through the first one. I have completely beaten the second one, and I haven't played any of the others since. Been meaning to. I've been lazy. But from the Origins demo that was showed at Microsoft, I believe.
Showed a trailer for it at Microsoft, I think, but they didn't actually show the game.
Well, I think there was some gameplay footage, but something that I don't, because I'm really unfamiliar with it, is did they add like an RPG element system to it now? Because
yes, they did. They added like Horizon Zero Dawn bullshit.
Okay. Because I looked at it and was like, wait, they have a legendary bow. The person just leveled up from 6 to 7. Like, did they just go full Destiny on this one?
I would say more Horizon Zero Dawn and less Destiny, although there is a lot of overlap between the two.
Is Horizon any good?
I thought Horizon Zero Dawn was actually a pretty good game. I didn't play it. I watched someone else play it, but like from what I saw, I thought this was a really good game, and that like
it's on my radar. I'm basically I have a lot of games to play right now, so I'm not going to get it right away. But if it comes down to a really good price, I'm gonna.
I would honestly say if you see it for $30, pick it up because I thought it was worth the full price of $60.
So yeah, I'm definitely so Origins has my interest. It doesn't have my attention, but it has my interest, and I'll be paying attention to.
I was vaguely interested, and then I saw him fighting a crocodile underwater, and I immediately lost interest. I'm sorry, I was a hippo.
So you became Steve Irwin.
Oh, sorry. But you weren't even fighting a hippo with realistic water physics. You were swinging a spear around and stabbing at a hippo with the speed and agility and strength of someone that would not be in underwater stabbing someone. Assassin's Creed always has had an issue of realistic physics.
I mean, this is okay. We're kind of throwing realism out the window when you're able to jump from the top of a, church steeple down 10 stories into a pile of hay that's no joke 3 feet high, and you could get out of there without a scratch.
I know, but
the reality has been chucked out, dude.
I know, but you can't tell me that some dude in this fucking ancient Egyptian get-up is able to fight a hippo. Hippos are fucking territorial, and
even crocodiles don't want to fuck with hippos.
Yeah. Yeah. The fucking dinosaur lizard doesn't want to fuck with a hippo. Why are we killing hippos and killing it relatively easily too, no less? This shouldn't be happening. This hippo should be fucking biting you in half. But that's Assassin's Creed, and that's why I kind of gave up on the game, or the series, because they kept doing yearly releases and didn't do much gameplay updates, but B, for every thing that you go okay, that's realistic, that's believable, but then do 5 things in a row that's completely impossible.
There was the surprise from him beyond the pure cocaine that is Mario and the Rabbids. Beyond Good and Evil 2, that was the
end. So, but we still have so to get.
All right, we'll save that.
We'll catch that at the end. So, Crew 2, another racing game, but this one time it's also got boats and
airplanes. Basically, they took all the Red Bull sports racing concepts and just threw it into this game and said, "Here you go, sponsored by Monster and Red Bull."
Yeah. We got another trailer for South Park: The Fractured Butthole. You're welcome.
Honestly,
we're all 5.
Playing the Stick of Truth and enjoying that as much as I have, I'm really looking forward to the next iteration of South Park and seeing how stupid they'll go with it.
So here's a game that I think Brian might like. Something called Transference. Looks like it's going to be some sort of weird, it was presented by Elijah Wood along with some other regular actors and things like that, and they're describing this as lost footage found in the Ubisoft archives of 1999.
Oh yeah, it's that. Well, it's VR only, so I don't know if Brian will like that, but
they're going for a a Blair Witch Project feel, almost of lost footage found in some random forest. So oh look what happened to this thingy, and then you see the horror of what happened in this transference medium. I don't know. It looked really weird, something that I think Brian might enjoy.
If
any serious trailer done by Elijah Wood, it kind of already freaks me out. So Transference definitely.
The fact that it's VR only is going to put me off a bit, because
Yeah, it's VR, and it's like VR. I don't want to spend the money on a headset. But
no, I already know I'm gonna puke. It's just no.
I don't know that. Another surprise out of Ubisoft is this game called Skull and Bones.
The pirate game.
Yeah,
Yep.
The other pirate game.
Yes. They
basically took Assassin's Creed 4, the best elements of it, and said, let's make a standalone game.
Let's make a standalone game. They described it being a like a 5v5, like a almost like a MOBA. It is what I got the feeling out of it.
It kind of does look like that. It basically looks, it almost looks like a 5v5, yeah, I guess MOBA would be the best word. I was going to go with like a, like a first-person shooter, but it really isn't. But being able to, not only shoot down other ships, but shoot down like the merchant ships to grab the treasure, then escape the police.
Yeah.
When they arrive on the scene,
Yeah,
it looks pretty.
Escape the British Empire. Escape the British Royal Navy when they fucking show up with their galleons and their triple-decker battleships and.
I say, drop the medallions, you swine!
Yeah, basically. But like it looks like it looks really interesting, and they described it as being like this is both PvP and PvE, and like there's going to be like co-op things and a bunch of other things, and
you form teams, and then the teams can perform mutiny on you, or you can perform mutiny on someone else, and it is squad based.
They describe a lot.
It is squad based, but you're also aiming to just be the best individual pirate. Yeah. So it's kind of a free for all, but you have to form alliances to move up. It's a lot of head games. Yeah.
Also, they showed off at the end of the trailer a giant kraken showing up to eat its ship.
Yeah, because
because kraken.
Because you want this to be realistic. Well, fuck you, I say.
Yeah. The release date was fall of 2018, so we probably won't see hide nor hair of this until next E3. But like, this looks to be like, this has some potential.
Drink up, me hearties, yo-ho. So,
and then we have Just Dance.
Okay.
And
then we have South Park on your cell phone.
And now we have Steep Road to the Olympics.
There's some sort of like Space X Star Fox kind of game coming out for the Switch. Only it's using the amiibos for like quote unquote on the fly weapon swapping.
It's also for PS4 and Xbox One. Come on, give it some credit. It's just it looks like a space version of Skylanders.
Yeah, it looks like a spacey Skylanders Star Fox kind of feel. They did Steep, Far Cry 5, and then they finished. Yeah, the Far Cry 5, and then we get to the end of the Ubisoft with the trailer for Beyond Good and Evil 2.
That was a out of left field because, I mean, okay.
Hey, look, vaporware.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, that was, keeping in mind that the original game, Beyond Good and Evil 1, was a PS2 game that came out 14 years ago and is now getting a sequel.
Yeah.
Well, like prequel, but
yeah, I'm watching this and I'm like, is this Shadowrun? No, wait, there's too many. Is this Shadowrun? No, wait, it's a pig. And there's like a monkey. Definitely not Shadowrun. Is this some sort of weird like gritty Fifth Element game? I don't know what's going on.
I thought it was a new IP, to be honest with you.
I thought it was a new IP too. And then they get to the end, and then they show a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm like, this stuff is probably important. I don't know why. Oh fuck! It's Beyond Good and Evil 2. And, so there's a person that's working at Twitch. He's like one of the main Twitch faces. And he was a huge Beyond Good and Evil fan. Like, really, really enjoyed and loved the first game. And for the past 5 years, he was hoping and praying for Beyond Good and Evil 2. And a bunch of people in the Twitch community was always like teasing him and making him fun of it. Just watching the unadulterated reaction of him seeing the trailer drop and just like the immediate aftermath of that is just like pure gold.
He's happy that he's going to get a sequel before Half-Life 3. And
yeah, so I'm going to try to pull this up just so you guys can see like how he reacted, because this was like
he needed several changes of underwear, probably. It was this.
Yeah, among other things, he basically like I can't find it, but basically like he was in the press room, right? So he was with a bunch of like other Twitch people, and he's just like watching them, like he's watching the trailer and they're like filming the reactions and like seeing what's happening, and then they do the name drop and he just starts like kind of like is this real? Is this happening? And then he realizes it is real. It is happening because they have Michael Ansel, the guy who wrote and directed the first game, walk on stage and talk about the game, and then he just immediately just starts like celebrating and like what movie is this from? Reservoir Dogs, I think, where it's like fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. He just like starts flipping off everyone in the room who sees them about it for the past 5 years.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, it was just really funny just to watch him, just like the unadulterated joy of just like him flipping off like everyone else in the room for teasing him over this game, which is now coming out.
I mean, it's still probably going to be at least another 2 years before we really see this game come to full fruition. But it's nice. But it's nice to see that at least there are some franchises that don't get completely left in the dust. Now,
excuse me.
What'd you say?
You stole my joke. Thanks.
What'd you say, Ron? I didn't quite catch that.
I'm sorry, I had to sneeze.
Gesundheit.
Thank you.
So, Ubisoft, a pretty decent showing overall, but I'm that Mario and Rabbids game. I am actually, while you guys were talking about Beyond Good and Evil, I actually did just go ahead and pre-order that game. So Mario and Rabbids will come to me at the end of August. So I love Amazon Prime, but
yeah, that's always nice.
So moving right along, then with that we go to Sony next, which
interesting. Apparently, what they did with Sony's is they had the full conference. They had their full conference, but the hour beforehand, they showed off a bunch more DLC and like things are coming out for this year.
Yeah, I missed the pre-show leading up to the show, and I guess that's where like a lot of like the 2017 news was hit, and then the conference itself was more 2018 and beyond.
Yeah, that's what I heard and saw too. Is like the pre-show was like all the things coming out in 2017, and then the conference itself was like 2018, late 2017, and maybe 2019 stuff. And they started off with Uncharted Lost Legacy.
Yeah, this is when you know that a company is milking the shit out of something, is when they start doing all these spin-offs. And that is exactly what Naughty Dog is doing with Uncharted.
I also think it's also a case of like Naughty Dog themselves doesn't know what they want to do next, and they need to make some money in the meantime. So we'll follow this DLC. Okay, admittedly, you don't need any of the prior Uncharted games. Like, the DLC is standalone.
Yeah, well, I think this is a standalone game, to be perfectly honest with you.
I thought it was DLC, but it was like a $20 DLC because it's like an 8-hour game.
Well, regardless, this is just one of those things of, Naughty Dog was probably contacted by Sony to do more Uncharted, and Naughty Dog kind of went, but we kind of told our story.
Like, when we told the Nathan Drake story, we don't have anything else to say. And Sony was like, okay, well, can you give us, like, something? And like, okay, we can give you...
No, Sony just said, okay, cool, make more Uncharted.
Yeah.
So, that is kind of more of a, I kind of feel bad for Naughty Dog.
Yeah. So. I don't...
Because it's not like the Uncharted games are bad.
No, they're not. They're pretty good. Is the girl in it? Is that supposed to be his, like, girlfriend or daughter?
Dude, you're asking the wrong person. I only know this from my roommate. My roommate's the one who plays those games and really enjoys the hell out of them. I have not touched them.
I know she's obviously important in some fashion in the Uncharted games. I just don't know how, because I never really got into those games. So I was never really a Tomb Raider-esque person.
Yeah, neither was I.
They announced DLC for Horizon Zero Dawn called The Frozen Wild.
You knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Horizon, as we talked about, it's a very good game and totally worth the money, and you knew DLC was coming, so that'll be nice tie-overs for people playing that game.
Yeah. Next is Bend Studios and some game called Days Gone. Oh no, This was the game they showed. This was the game they showed last year. That was the zombie.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Which I'm just like, I'm kind of all zombied out. To be,
I was zombied out. I was zombied out after the first fucking Resident Evil movie.
I like after Left 4 Dead 2 and like all the zombie games that came after that was like, okay, we get it. Zombies. We get it. Move on.
Zombies, no. Sorry.
When I was taking a look at the highlights for Sony, I basically got the impression that it was Sony does this. They really try to push a specific technology. Have you noticed that? This year they were really trying to push VR. VR was the name of the game. And
just like how the Move was the name a few years ago.
Yeah, the Move was the thing, and now it's VR, and next year it'll be Dippin' Dots. It's
well, to be fair, people thought that was going to be VR last year. So they pushed it back a year, which I think was fine, because VR probably caught up a bit.
This is, and I saw this at PAX, and I'm seeing this here. It says, like, VR, and I'm like, no, and no. Just absolutely not. I'm seeing things like, oh, guess what? We're getting a VR Skyrim. Fuck you, Bethesda! And we're getting a remake of Shadow of the Colossus. And I'm going, didn't you just release your third game in this series?
Yeah.
And, God of War.
To be fair, God of War looks interesting, because you're not going against the Roman gods anymore. I'm sorry, the Roman and Greek gods. You're going up against the Norse gods. Which could be interesting.
Basically, you're not stopping until every god is dead and atheism reigns supreme.
They showed off Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
They got a story demo for that. I just downloaded that on my PS4.
Call of Duty is going back to World War II.
But we knew that already.
Yeah.
And then after this, the next God of War will have Kratos going after the Greyhawk Pantheon. Then
Faerun.
And then everything in Forgotten Realms, and we're just gonna keep running down the list until literally there is no deity left, ever again.
Then they have the Detroit Become Human game, which is the guys who did Heavy Rain. I forget the person or studio behind that, but
Quantic Dream.
Thank you.
They have to make another freaking Monster Hunter. I am so sick of this franchise.
Okay, to be fair, this is one worth excited about because it's a Monster Hunter game, and that's not a fucking Nintendo handheld. So you can have actual graphic quality. This is going to be a Monster Hunter game that's coming out on the PS4 in 2018.
I'm just done with that franchise.
Don't worry. Don't worry. You just play the Mega Man Legacy Collection too.
Yeah, I'll definitely be getting that for Steam because, well, I need another reason to own 7, 8, 9, and 10. Well, to be fair, I don't have 9 and 10 because my Wii died, so I don't have those anymore. So getting those back would be nice, but yeah. I could pass on 8 though with that awful voice acting.
Mm-hmm. Then we get another Destiny 2 trailer. Just like, why more Destiny 2?
Well,
why?
You knew that was going to happen.
I know it was going to happen, but it's like, why? We don't need any more Destiny information.
Why?
Everything they showed at the Destiny conference, which was a month ago. And then they ended. This is the weirdest ending I've got to say I've seen for a conference in a while. They didn't end with a new IP. They didn't end with anything like they didn't end with a whimper or anything. They ended with a flippin' superhero game.
Which one was it?
This was Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, Spider-Man! Spider-Man! Actually, that looks like a hell of a lot of fun.
To be fair, it looks like, okay, it's being made by Activision, right?
No, it's being made by Insomniac.
Insomniac, I'm sorry, Insomniac, yeah. They did I'm pretty sure Insomniac did Spider-Man 2, like the PS2 one.
No, I think this is Insomniac's first go around with the Spider-Man franchise, and they're really nailing down what it means to be Spider-Man. A lot of people are comparing it to Spider-Man 2, which a lot of people consider it the crown jewel of that genre of games right now. And from everything that I've personally seen so far, that for me is a day one purchase. I will definitely be getting my hands on Spider-Man. While my personal favorite superheroes in the Marvel or DC universe, and it really, I think, really captures the essence very well.
It was pretty good. Like the reason why it was just so surprising was like it's not even a first party title like how most of the other conferences tried to end their game. It's not even like this is a licensed title.
Insomniac is owned by Sony.
Yeah, but
they not entirely.
Yeah, but I guess what I mean is it's not a game or an IP that's like in Sony's hands. This is a thing that's licensed out to them by Marvel and by proxy Disney. So they're ending their conference on a thing that is not they don't have direct money in, I guess is what I'm trying to say. If that makes sense.
Well,
yeah, I'm having a hard time following your line of logic there, but
I guess so Microsoft, they ended their thing with
Anthem.
Anthem, which is
EA
console EA. Nintendo had their thing.
Well, Nintendo always has their thing.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm trying to say is of the things they could have ended on, where it was new IP, new sequel, whatever. This is one of the weird things I've seen the conference end on, where it's ending on a superhero game.
Okay, it ends on a superhero game, and that's fine, but it is from my understanding, it is a true exclusive for
Sony, yeah.
Yeah, for Sony. So they were smart on that front to make sure that it's a game that you can only get on their system, and and Spider-Man was kind of debuted last year, had a lot of positive reaction to it. So why not, see if they can continue to go with a hot hand on that? So
yeah, that's fine. That's fine. And like, they showed it last year, but it was literally just like 5 seconds of gameplay, or not even gameplay footage, just like cinematic footage, of just watching. And it was like, oh, so they're working on a new Spider-Man game. All right, cool. Is this going to be a movie tie-in? And then we see the thing this year, and it's like, oh, it's not a movie tie-in. It's just a straight up like, it's just a straight up Spider-Man game set in the Marvel universe. And it looks to be like, it looks to be a story of like watching Peter Parker, like literally start. Like already been established as Spider-Man. He's already like a known entity in this world, and like you see him interacting with a bunch of you see him interacting with the Kingpin. Then you see him fighting off a bunch of Mr. Negative's goons and things like that. And it's just like the thing we see looks to be a sort of like we're coming in at the middle of a story here.
Yeah,
and like that's perfectly fine. Especially if they built a game with this in mind of like he's already established, everyone knows that he's Spider-Man, well, like knows that Spider-Man's a thing, and now we get to see a Spider-Man game where it's not us rehashing this storyline or some random plot thread. Like maybe they do like a GTA sort of thing where you can be like stop some random mugger as Spider-Man. Or you can just continue on with the story missions and things like that.
Well, with any luck, it kind of looks a little more to me because of how it used some of the stealth aspects of the game. It almost looks like it almost kind of is almost Batman-esque in terms of the approach to gameplay.
Yeah,
except instead of gadgets, it's Spider-Man's abilities.
Yeah, it's like it gave me that Arkham Asylum feel too. Only there's a bit more equipping and wits from Spider-Man.
Well, yeah, because Spider-Man.
Because Spider-Man, and also relying on the and also relying on Spider-Man's Spidey sense, super strength, super reflexes, and the web shooters.
It's a different, it's a similar approach to the Batman Arkham games, but done in a completely different style because we're dealing with a different, we're not dealing with ordinary man with money and gadgets. We're dealing with a guy with actual superpowers and some tech to go with it, and it just it to me, it just looks like it's going to be so much fun. Those swing around to get creative with your takedowns. The bullet time aspects were actually kind of really neat. Yeah.
Also, the fact that it's probably going to be in like an open world and not us being stuck in one place like we were in Arkham Asylum and Arkham, the second game.
City.
Yeah.
Although City was sort of open world. I don't know. I didn't really play that one.
Yeah, it was semi-open world, not really. I feel like this one will be a more open world, and by that I mean like all of New York City.
Right. Kind of like what the last Spider-Man game was. It really, it was open world, and Activision did a good job with that game. Just Marvel and Disney were being butts, but
yeah.
It's one of the few times I can say Activision did good for once.
Mm-hmm.
Womp womp. All right.
But yeah, Spider-Man. Really looking forward to it.
Alrighty. So, this whole time that E3 was going, these conferences are going on, and checking social media, basically it was like, all right, Sony, Microsoft, Bethesda, everything just really a couple of two little choice bits. The Mario and Mario and Rabbids thing. Got
up to this point in time, probably the best conference was Ubisoft.
Yeah. So some blips, but overall just a lot of resounding And then we come to Nintendo, which is the last on our list. We come to Nintendo, and my phone exploded.
Fucking. So, can we we'll get to the two main things in a second. We should start off first with the fact that they're showing some things that they coming out for the Switch within days of the footage thing being shown. ARMS, the Pokken Tournament DX, yes, Splatoon 2 as well.
Yeah, Splatoon 2 is out in a month.
Yeah. And then they showed Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Like, alright, cool.
I can't wait. I am looking forward to that. I loved the first one, so I'm going to give the second one a go.
Yeah. And then they showed Kirby. And I don't mean like Kirby the character. I mean, well, they did show Kirby the character, but the game is just called Kirby.
Kirby, not starring Kirby.
Yeah. And I don't know about you. I got like the new Super Mario Brothers feel out of that, like with the co-oping.
It looked like Kirby Superstar on crack.
Yeah. And like the game looked very pretty too. And then
Power Fusion looked awesome. Because that was like the one thing like I kind of missed from like Kirby Squeak Squad and Kirby 64 was the ability to combine powers to create very weird effects. And to see that back using the helper system from Superstar was just kind of like, wait, so you're taking two of the biggest concepts that fans have been demanding for years, and you're giving them both in one game. Sold.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. And then we get the first like phone blowing up moment.
No.
No, although that looks adorable. Again, you know, Kirby and Yoshi.
That's a game that you're gonna have to take God of War breaks in between.
Yeah.
I need to go murder something.
I need to cut a zombie in 5. It's you know.
Yeah, but we get the first major announcement. Someone from Game Freak, I forget the person's name, announces they've begun development of a Pokemon role-playing game for the Switch.
Which they should have done during the Pokemon Direct.
Yeah.
I can see why they did.
But it wasn't... Okay, keep in mind, for those listening, they didn't show anything. It was literally just a guy in a room being like, hi, I'm someone from Game Freak. We're working on a Pokemon role-playing game for the Switch. I have literally nothing else to show you. We're just announcing it because Nintendo told us to. Have fun with the rest of the conference.
Yeah, well, because there was so much disappointment with the announcement of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Like, everyone was crestfallen because we really thought, like, the announcement was going to be a third game in the set, a Sun, Moon, and, you know,
yeah,
I guess...
Sun, Moon, and Stars, or Eclipse, or something like that.
Or Stars, or whatever,
Sky.
For the Switch.
Yeah.
For the Switch. Like, that's what everyone was counting on. And then Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon comes out, and everyone went, oh. I mean, a Nerd Rage put it best. It's not what I wanted. I'm still going to get it, but it's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
So Nintendo really, like, I think was kind of like, we need to fix this now. Just announce it. We don't have anything else for it. Just announce it.
Just say anything. Anything is good. Just
like we can announce we're working on it, and by working on it, I mean pre-alpha footage.
Yeah, pretty much.
We don't mean like fuck the footage. Just announce it.
And in fact, we only have maybe a few sketches, but
yeah.
This would not surprise me if it's 8th generation for Pokemon, and they're just going to do a whole new region and whatnot, and I'm okay with that. So
I will just, again, like I've said before on prior DLC episodes, I just want to have it be a Pokemon game where we can go to all the regions.
Boy, and they would have the space to do it with that game. 32
it doesn't even have to be a great graphical upgrade either. You can have it be like...
No, I want my Pokemon in 1080p, damn it!
900p, remember?
900, whatever, I don't give a shit.
However many
even,
P's.
I want shiny!
It doesn't even have to be like a really big graphical upgrade from the 3DS. You give us like Mario looking graphics and like design for the characters that are not Pokemon.
I'll take a Pokemon game with Breath of the Wild graphics.
Fucking God, I'm sure everyone would lose their fucking mind if that happened. But like give us a game with like if you can give us the entire Pokemon world for us to explore up to this point in time that you've released, like that would probably be the largest selling Nintendo title, period.
I would not see you again for at least 5 years.
I'm pretty sure you wouldn't see half the world's population for 5 years.
I would only imagine, everyone that if a game like that came out, we'd see people emerging from their houses after 5 years, full-grown beards, hair
full Jumanji. What year is it?
Hair down to their ass. Just coming out, looking at this evil burning Daystar for the first time in 5 years, and just looking at me going, I caught them all, and then collapses dead.
Yeah. And then the second other surprise announcement, they didn't even show anything. It was just like a 30-second trailer. They're working on a Metroid Prime 4.
That was when my phone blew up. That's when I was actually home, and I'm just scrolling through. I think I was at work. When was this conference?
This would have been Tuesday morning.
Yeah, I was at work.
Monday or Tuesday morning, yeah.
Yeah, I was at work. Yeah. I was at work for this, and so I'm just going through, and suddenly my Twitter is on fire. Like, there was some talks with the Pokemon thing, and then when they showed Metroid Prime 4, just pandemonium.
Like, the thing to keep in mind, Brian, is Nintendo, by and large, disowned themselves from the Prime series. They said Prime is not part of the Metroid timeline. Other M isn't even technically part of the Metroid Prime line. The only thing that's part of the Metroid Prime line is Metroid, Metroid 2, Super Metroid, Metroid Fusion. And, like, honestly, the Metroid Prime series belongs in that timeline. Other M, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
But that's more so for story reasons and not for gameplay reasons. Well, M was actually a pretty decent game for gameplay purposes. Story-wise, not so much. But I digress. Like, the fact that they've announced that they're working on a new Metroid game, period, is a surprise. The fact that it's a Metroid Prime 4 is equally surprising, considering that Metroid Prime 3 wrapped itself up in a nice little bow, because Retro Studios, right? That was who did it?
Yes.
Yeah. Retro Studios, like, knew that they only had, like, 2 or 3 games at most to work on this, and they wrapped it up in a nice little bow, and they finished up all the Phazon bullshit. So,
yeah,
where's Metroid Prime 4 going? Like,
good
you
question.
you can't deal with the Metroids. Well, actually, you can. Assuming they do.
They'll do more. They'll make some bullshit reason. You know that.
I know, but like, based on the Metroid timeline, and saying this is a Metroid Prime 4, this leads me to believe this is going to occur somewhere between Metroid Prime 3 and Metroid 2: Return of Samus, which, oh, by the way, is seeing a re-release on the 3DS with a graphical update and everything.
September.
Also explains why they NDA'd or shut down the guy that did another Metroid 2 remake, because he basically did what they were doing and put it out a year before them.
The AM2R guys weren't even mad.
They're not mad. The guy said too, like, this is a free thing. Like, this is just meant to be a fan tribute. And he's like, I totally expect to be shut down for this. A year later, or not even a year later, day after releasing it. Yep, got shut down. Oh well. I just wanted to have it be out there because not many people played Metroid 2.
And then
to be fair, he's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so the fact that we are getting a Metroid 2, here's the thing, at least for me, because I was talking to a couple people at work about what Nintendo might do in their conference, and I actually went right out and predicted that I really thought that there was going to be something Metroid Prime, and I straight up said it's probably going to be Prime 4. And even though I wanted Nintendo to do something different with the Metroid series, I kind of thought that was going to be the logical direction they walk in. And sure enough, I hit it around the nose with Prime 4.
The thing, too, is, Metroid Prime Other M came out in 2011?
2010.
2010, yeah. So it's
been 7 years.
It's been 7 years since we saw Samus in a game all on her own. Because fuck Federation Force, that's not a game that should exist.
That's not a game.
Yeah, that's not a game.
That don't count.
That don't count. And Samus showing up in Smash 4 don't count either because she's in a cast of 75 other Nintendo-related characters.
And not Nintendo-related characters.
Yes, but that don't count. We haven't seen her since her abysmal handling in Other M. And the last good Metroid game, arguably, was Prime 3, all the way back in 2007. So it's been
a while.
Depending upon 7 to 10 years since we last saw Samus.
And the fact that Nintendo responded, Reggie several months ago said, come back to me in a year and tell me that there's no Metroid games. It made you think, but I was not expecting not one but two Metroid games, with one of them being right around the corner. Quite a surprise, really.
Well, the thing too is to keep in mind is that for people in Japan, they don't consider Metroid to be part of the big three.
No, and Nintendo really doesn't consider Metroid part of the big three. They pretty much told their stories, and Nintendo was pretty much well and ready to put that series to bed. And they pretty much did that with the F-Zero series when they gave all that shit to the Mario Kart series.
Yeah. And the big three for Japan and most of the people in Nintendo's head front offices is Mario, Link, and Pokemon.
Yep.
They don't consider Metroid part of that thing like America does.
Well, America also wants Mother, more Kid Icarus, another F-Zero, a Star Fox that doesn't suck. I mean, America just wants all the things and wants them now. So,
okay, but to be fair, I felt like if the quote unquote America Big Three was also what Nintendo worked on, it would be a really good thing, because here's Mario, this happy-go-lucky sort of magic, fantasy platformer. And then you have Zelda, which is adventure, RPG, swordplay, exploration. Fantasy. And then you have fantasy. And then you have Metroid, which is sci-fi, space, literally Metroidvania. They literally made the fucking game.
They invented the term.
They invented the term. They literally invented the term.
It really, for America,
if that was their journey, that's a really wide set that you can cover. You get platforming people, you get kids. For Zelda, you get the action adventure and the RPG people, and then for Samus, you get your sci-fi folks, and you get your loot whores and your collection mania people too.
Really, it's more like the big four, because Pokemon is fucking huge here in America. So Nintendo would America fans really just want to put Metroid on the shelf with the other three franchises. It's just You may be I don't know how the Japanese think, but you might be right in saying that Japanese don't hold Metroid in as high of a regard as we do.
Yeah, and it's just like I wish Nintendo would understand that, but again, Nintendo marches to the beat of its own drum.
Always.
So always has and always will. For better or for worse.
Yeah.
And they just don't see Metroid as part of their core like block of followers or their core tenants.
Yep.
For
me personally, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because I never grew up on Metroid, so my experiences with it have been within the past 15 years, has been like my full Metroid experience. So it's not, I don't hold that series as near and dear to me as maybe other people do, because a lot of people, especially my age, grew up on Super Metroid, and a lot of people, remember very fondly of how great that game is, and it is one of the best games on the Super Nintendo, no doubt about it. But because I didn't have those experiences like everyone else had, I feel much more detached from the Metroid series than perhaps everyone else. Yeah. So, but at the same time, I understand when, series get ignored for so long that you really don't know what the next step with the series is, if at all. But like, because some people are still asking for a proper Wario game, and we're probably never going to get one of those ever again.
Yeah, but like the thing with that, the thing to go along with the counterpoint of they don't know where to go. That's the thing with like being a space game, though. You have all of space to explore. But
they always want to tie in with the Metroid and Space Pirates, yada yada. Yada yada bullshit. I get. I'm with you. I'm with you. But at the same time, I understand what a lot of other people are going to be saying. Well, it's on Metroid game if there are not Metroids. So I understand it from that point of view as well. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I'm with you 100% on that boat. You're in space. Make shit up.
Hell, like, they've already said in the game, assuming you assume Prime is canon, that there are multiple planets with Metroids on them. And that the ones that Samus dealt with were just on one planet, and then their original home planet where the Chozo made them. Like, there could be a far-flung research station in some distant corner of the galaxy that, like, oh look, the Chozo were here also. Oh look, they also made Metroids. Oh no, the Space Pirates found them. What are we going to do? Oh no, Samus, we need you to save us. Like, what? Come on. Like, guys, you have literal space bird wizards that made life-sucking creatures. And then see the galaxy, and then fucked out of the galaxy, too. And said, fuck you, we're out of here. I'm pretty sure you could have it be that, like, some crazy, kooky space bird wizard went off to experiment on the Metroids on his own, and the Space Pirates found him. It ain't too
I am using that name for the Chozo from now on. Space bird wizards. That's gold.
Like, you can send Ron the royalty checks.
Yeah, thank you. Like, I don't think that's too far of a leap. Like, space bird wizards, come on. Like,
You're right, and it's so open-ended from how Nintendo created that particular sub-universe.
Yeah.
That Nintendo basically has an open book in front of them. And I would even argue the same point for the Star Fox series. Instead of rehashing the same story over and over again, you are in space. You can literally just pick galaxies and planets to choose from and make a game based off it. So it's not
here's a concept. Here's a concept I'm sure someone else has thought of but I'm going to be one of the first ones to actually put it in voice. So, Nintendo, send me those fucking royalty checks. How about that? How about this? You are Samus, and the space pirates have taken up shop over this little corner of the galaxy by using Metroids to harass them. You must, in a Mass Effect style, go onto these planets, defeat the space pirate bosses and the Metroids that are on them, gather resources to power up your power suit in your ship, have some minor ship combat for intergalactic fighting against giant space pirate ships so that, like, maybe you need to disable the ship so you can board it and then deal with the Metroids on the ship so that the Metroids don't go floating out into space because, oh fuck, Metroids in space, that's the last thing we want to see. Like, and this all culminates in some sort of, I don't know, maybe you gotta fight some crazy bird wizard that didn't get ascended to another plane of existence, who's kind of fused himself with a Metroid, and now you had this, like, bird space wizard.
Omega Metroid's bird wizard.
Yeah. And, like, something really weird and kooky. Like, weird and kooky, and, like, you're like, Chozo magic. Sure, why not? Like, that, you can't tell me this wouldn't sell like hotcakes. You cannot tell me a Mass Effect Metroid game would not sell.
It'd be a good idea.
But no, Nintendo doesn't think that Metroid's a big deal. So we're left with 7 years of silence, followed by Metroid Prime 4, and Metroid 2 remake. I'm sorry, we can go back to the rest of the conference.
You know, when you said you had some rants prepared, I did not anticipate the gold that you would be spewing forth. You obviously have a lot of thoughts.
Metroid is one of my favorite series. And
okay.
And seeing it disused, like, okay, like, sure, there's series out there that have had, like, billions of sequels. Assassin's Creed, you've got, like,
Call of Duty,
things like that. And, like, sure, these things can be explored upon until they're beaten to death and you've milked them and turned the body into glue. But there's things that are like rich, succulent fruit that's just ripe for picking on the tree. But for whatever reason, the farmer that is Nintendo decided, no, we're not going to pluck any more fruit from this tree. It is the apple of knowledge from the Garden of Eden. This is forbidden for man for whatever reason. It must be purified and observed or forgotten lest we sin ourselves into oblivion.
Alrighty. Moving on.
Yeah, sorry. Fire Emblem Warriors.
Which, you know, the next logical step forward for the Warriors series, because, you know, we didn't expect Hyrule Warriors to work as well as it did, and it was a wonderful game. And now you're taking something with a lot more approachable aspect like Fire Emblem. That game's gonna sell immediately.
Yeah. You also have Yoshi. Again, another game where it's just the Yoshi. Only they're looking to go kind of play up on the Yoshi Yarn Ball thing and have it be like more materials like grass and metal and cardboard.
There was Woolly World. There was Woolly World that played very similar to that. It looked to be kind of like a mix of Woolly World and Paper Mario. It's very weird. Yeah. But it also looks incredibly adorable. It looks like something that you're going to play about 2 hours of and then go play Doom because you just need to beat the Q out of your system.
Yeah, we need to balance here.
They then showed off some DLC for Breath of the Wild.
Yep. Trial of the Sword.
Yeah, you have the Master Trials, and then they have the Champions Ballad.
Well, Champions Ballad is holiday this year, but...
Yeah, then they have the Master Trials in, June 30th.
Yep, end of the month.
Yeah. Showed off some more Mario Rabbids.
And Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
Well, Super Mario Odyssey closed the show.
Yeah. They announced that Rocket League is going to be on the Switch, which is surprising.
Well, and they're coming with full cross-platform play. You can play with people on the Xbox and PC, so that's actually quite welcomed. Especially for Rocket League, to be able to take that on the go and play with anyone, with the exception of PS4, because Sony's got their heads shoved up their asses
for whatever reason. This is
for whatever reason.
Yeah, this is the one thing Sony's fucking up hardcore, is allowing cross-platform to work.
So, I actually think that's very good for Nintendo, and being able to have some of this cross-platform play, even some of the EA stuff with FIFA and whatnot. As much as I love to make fun of EA, and I definitely have my fun with EA.
Yeah.
The fact that having, major sports titles on the Switch is a good thing for the system and for Nintendo.
I also think that Rocket League is a game that Nintendo themselves would like to have on their game system, because it's a relatively simple game.
And it's kooky. It's right up Nintendo's alley.
Yeah. I feel like this was a game that Nintendo was wanted on their system too. And the community of Rocket League wanted it too, so it's like, we want this and we want this, so let's just make
it happen.
Yeah, let's make it. Let's make babies.
So
and by babies, I mean money.
I'm actually a little surprised that Nintendo did not show a whole lot of Splatoon 2, especially with that game being out in a month. I really thought Nintendo would have been a little more heavy-handed on that, but
is Splatoon 2 more the same? Really?
Yeah, yes and no. They added a couple more, a new game mode. Looks like they're going to be a little more involved in the single-player story this time around. But as far as the multiplayer, it's pretty much going to be more of the same, and that's fine. I'm still going to get it.
Yeah. And then they close with Super Mario Odyssey. Thing we already knew about, but then we get...
The fuck?
Yeah.
Possession, anyone?
Yeah. Okay, Mario can use his hat to control things.
When I first saw that, Mario threw his hat onto the frog. And my first My first thought was, are they bringing Frog Mario back? Because, if we're going full Mario 3 on this, sign me the fuck up. And then Mario becomes an actual frog. It's like, wait, I'm sorry, what?
They're going full.
Wait, what?
Nintendo's going full internet me, and you become the frog.
And Mario having the ability to possess, other humans, to possess Goombas, Koopa Troopas, Hammer Bros. That was Nintendo. Did you go over to Namco, go over to the Katamari Damacy devs, and just took whatever they were on and just said, let's make this?
Sure, possessing things from the Mario Kingdom is one thing, because we've seen these power-ups before. But now you're possessing a salaried businessman in New York City. I'm sorry, New World City, whatever the fuck they're called.
New Donk,
yeah. Now you're possessing a salaried businessman. What's he going to give you? Existential crisis and the ability to crunch numbers?
No, Mario doesn't need to take a taxi. He just possesses the damn taxi and takes off.
Yeah. Then you possess a dinosaur. Alright, so... What?
Fuck you, Yoshi! I'm a goddamn T-Rex!
Yeah. I'm your actual, cousin from another mother. We're only a few million years of evolution.
So this is Super Mario Body Horror Edition, is what you're saying.
Yes.
It was just so out there in terms of how Nintendo wanted to approach this game, but yet at the same time, it really made me. It really gave me a lot of callbacks to the Katamari Damacy when I first saw that game. It was this game looks like a drug trip in video game format, and oh my god, I want to play this. And that's exactly what I got out of Odyssey. Is just, this is so inane, so stupid, so drug induced. Oh my god, I want to play this. You can possess traffic cones for some godforsaken reason. You can possess a tank.
What's the release date? October 27th or something like that?
October 27th this year.
Yeah. So we wanted Nintendo when this was a criticism we had back in our Switch episode. Like, we want to see more things coming out of Nintendo. Well, they certainly announced that they have more things coming out, and it looks pretty fun. So, like, hey, we actually may have a fucking legitimate Nintendo console for the first time in about, I don't know, 15 years.
We shall see. I mean, the fact that a good number of these games are slated to come out this year is definitely a plus. I mean, I would definitely like to expand my Switch library beyond the 2 games that I currently have.
Nintendo needed to just. Nintendo knew they were not going to go punch for punch with Sony and Microsoft, and we talked about this in the Switch episode. So Nintendo, instead of just trying to create this huge library, decides to just make really, really good titles every couple of months to just give us stuff to tie us over and to keep us occupied and happy until the next big title comes out. We're getting Splatoon 2 in just a little bit. In the meantime, we get tie over with more Breath of the Wild stuff. Once we're kind of done with those, we got Mario Raving Rabbids. Oh my god, I can't believe I want this game. And then once we're done with that, because that's an RPG, it's going to take some time to beat. And then Mario Odyssey's just around the corner. And then Xenoblade 2, for those interested, is out sometime this year, probably late year, around the holiday times.
They said holiday 2017, so I'm inclined to think it's probably
late November, early December, likely.
That's my think. You make it a Christmas title, sort of.
Yeah, so, Nintendo is coming out with this drip of titles that look interesting, that you want to play, and they didn't even go over the next main Fire Emblem, because we know that's a thing and they're shooting for 2018. And
then there's also the fucking Shin Megami Tensei Fire Emblem.
Right. So I mean,
coming out too.
So they have so many titles kind of up their sleeve, kind of ready to go, and they're, not everything's being hit all at once, but we're getting this, nice steady drip, and they're really making this seem like for this year, for next year, and possibly beyond, that the Switch is going to be one of the systems to own. Not as a primary system, but definitely as a complement to your PS4, Xbox, PC, whatever.
I feel like if Nintendo is happy with the Switch being the complementary, where you're sure, like, you can have your Call of Duties and your Battlefields and your Spider-Mans on the PC or on the PS4 or on the Xbox One. Like, you can have those be on that, but if you want like just good old fashioned gameplay, like just some good sweet lovin', like, Nintendo's here for you, and like, we're building up a stable of games that you'll be able to enjoy on our new console. And oh, by the way, it's not just a console. You can take it with you as long as you don't mind a 3-hour battery life.
Yeah. We can complain about that all day, but that's not the here nor the there. But the point is that Nintendo, for a $300 system, it seems like by the end of summer, is already going to have a big enough library that we can totally justify the cost of a $300 system.
Yeah.
Now, granted, you got to pay through the nose for extra stuff, for extra controllers and pro controllers and whatnot. Okay, that's kind of bad, but up until now, Nintendo is giving every reason that you really absolutely should want to Switch.
In theory, again, in theory, we're talking late 2018, probably 2019 at this point. We're talking about, again, 2 years down the road, we have a Nintendo console that has a major Mario installment, a major Zelda installment, a major Metroid installment, and then we're going to have a fucking Pokemon installment on this console.
A major Pokemon installment.
Yeah. And oh, by the way, throughout all that time frame, we then have we have JRPGs, we've got Fire Emblem Warriors, we've got ARMS, we've got Splatoon, we've got...
Yeah, major Fire Emblem coming.
Yeah. I honestly, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if they just did a straight-up port of Smash 4 for the Switch.
I'll be honest with you, if they were going to do a port for Smash 4, I think they would have announced it by now. Something tells me that because Sakurai's now working on this Kirby, something tells me I don't think we're getting Smash 4. I think the next one's going to be Smash 5.
Yeah, and that's a possibility too. I forgot to mention, you have Yoshi and you have Kirby. Other things that are part of Nintendo's library.
Absolutely.
And then there's the possible theory of there being a Smash 5. Nintendo really has a lot to work with, and they seem to be kind of finally realizing they're oh, right, we have this giant fucking library of games behind us that we could use. Maybe we should actually dip into it.
What is kind of interesting, and this is just kind of other stray thoughts I'm having coming out of Nintendo's conference. Despite the fact that that Metroid Prime 4 is announced, Retro Studios is not working on this game. That's being done by a different studio. So that begs the question for me, what's Retro working on? So we still don't know that.
Are they even in business? I don't even know if they're in business anymore.
All we know is that Retro's been busy. We know they have a project of some kind. What that is...
Well, okay, so Han, someone consult Lord Wikipedia on this. What else has Retro done besides Metroid Prime? Did they
Donkey Kong Country reboots?
Yeah, they did Donkey Kong Country stuff. Did they do Eternal Darkness? Or no, that was
no.
Silicon Knights.
That's thank you.
Alright, Retro Studios.
What's their game? Because they did a lot of Nintendo stuff, I think, right?
Okay, so their last project was Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
Right.
That was back in 2014.
Alright.
So they have done the Metroid Prime trilogy, they have done Mario Kart 7, and they have done the 2 Donkey Kong Country Returns games.
What if they do a Donkey Kong game for 2019 or 2018, I should say?
That might be the next one. Would be Donkey Kong Country, another Donkey Kong Country game. That might be what they're working on. They might be working on something completely fucking new. Who the fuck knows?
They haven't put out many games, but they've put out, generally speaking, pretty damn good ones for Nintendo.
Their first title was Prime, which they knocked out of the park.
Yeah.
And they've done the other 2 Prime games and made the trilogy set. And then moved on to Donkey Kong Country Returns, which was another smash hit. Mario Kart 7, no explanation needed. So they make really solid games, but what, all it says is that they have an unannounced project title. What is it?
Yeah, and also the thing too is how long have they been working on it? Because maybe this is a case of
since 2014. I guess they were given this project immediately when they finished Tropical Freeze. So this would be at least 3 years development at this point.
That makes me think it's a new IP for the Switch. And based on what you said, that makes me think Retro Studios, we're making the Switch. You have 4 years to come up with a game. And we won't announce anything until 2018. Have at it.
Yeah.
But then again, Nintendo likely has a Direct later this year. More than likely, because this is, classic Nintendo. They do like a minor E3 thing, and then they actually come out with a proper conference a few months after the fact.
Well, yeah, they're doing their quarterly Direct, so it's like...
So
this would be the fall Direct or the winter Direct, so probably...
So they could, they could be doing a late summer one. Who knows what Nintendo's got up their sleeves? But to that point, Nintendo has a lot on the way, but yet they still have a few mysteries up their sleeves, which could be good, it could be bad. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is, they're, they really have a lot, ready to go.
Yeah. Old man Nintendo still has some tricks up their sleeve. Yeah. Let's see what they got.
Let's see what they come up with. So, I think, now that we've gone almost 90 minutes in this half, wind it down here, gentlemen. So, that's I'm listening to the conversation, and I'm just having a blast here. So, winding down, it certainly appears that just if we were going by my social media alone, Nintendo was the quote-unquote winner of E3.
Yeah, and Super Mario Odyssey officially won Best in Show, so yeah, Nintendo definitely had a pretty damn good conference, I'd say.
My personal votes are Nintendo, followed very closely by Ubisoft. Because Ubisoft had a couple things that were kind of meh, but they had 3 really interesting things come out of it. They had the thing they were working on with Nintendo, the Mario Rabbids. They had the Cross and Bones, and then they had Beyond Good and Evil 2 drop.
And just from just all the information about E3 afterward, it just seemed like Sony and Microsoft were basically trying to fight for the same share of the pie. And
it's not even that. I felt like Sony played it really safe because they had such a huge lead on Microsoft that they didn't feel like they needed to take any sort of risk or show anything new. And so they played it safe, which I guess they could get away with, but it felt they made their conference feel relatively weak. And whereas with Microsoft, they had to show a lot. They had to show a lot.
Yeah, and a new console, which is mostly the same as the previous one.
Yeah, and then there's also the fact, and okay, sure, you guys want to try and get a slice of Sony's pie. Problem is, most of those games you said are console exclusive, also on PC. So, again, we get to the point of, why the fuck do I get your console when I have a PC that can do this shit?
Yeah. So it just seemed like Nintendo, had the best showing. Nintendo got definitely the most chatter on my Twitter. A lot of people were, and it reminds me of the fact. Take a look at how old we are. We're all in our 30s now, and it's still deep down, all of us, we still want Nintendo to be the joyful experience that we all have come to appreciate these last 3 decades. So,
and it's not even like Sony or Nintendo, Sony or Microsoft are bad. It's just they're more modern, relatively speaking. I could see that, but I got a sense just from looking at the highlights and bits of the Sony and Microsoft conference that there was just a lot of been there, done that. Yeah, that was the thing.
Yep, keep going. You got it.
I was like, and this is a general criticism of the game industry as a whole right now. Ever since the PS1 and to a certain extent the PS2 era, game companies haven't been willing to take a risk.
The recession also had a major thing to do with that as well. But
yeah, I agree. I agree. Part of that had to do with the depression, because I'm calling it for what it was. But so you're telling me that we're getting to a point now where these things that are getting remade and redone and rehashed and all that shit, this is their second or third or fourth rehashing, and no one is willing to take a risk on a new IP, with very few exceptions. By very few, I mean those with the wallet deep enough to take said risk. And right now, we're getting to a point of the things that we've seen and the things that have been developed, by and large, haven't changed too much since 2004. We've been stuck in a rut as the general game industry for 13 years. 13 years! And part of that is due to the cost of developing games and the time needed to do so. Because technology has advanced so much from when we started in the 8-bit days. And that's understandable. It's understandable to allow for long development times with the technology that we have today. And part of that's also due to the depression, like you said, Brian. But you need to start taking risks.
Oh, I agree.
You need to start, like, pushing the envelope, exploring new ideas, exploring new avenues. Part of the reason why people were excited about VR is because it's exploring new ways of the video game media. It's also part of the reason why we're so excited about Nintendo and the Switch. Because of all the fucking companies and all the things that have happened in the past 30 years and 35 years of video gaming. Nintendo marched to the beat of its own drum, for good or for ill. But you can never say anything bad about Nintendo being bad about, like, the gameplay. The gameplay is always being pushed to being new or interesting or refreshing, or they're always looking to innovate. They're never looking to sit on their laurels. They're looking to be like, okay, we did something good here. Now how can we make it even better? How can we push the envelope? How can we develop in a different fashion? And that's part of the reason why I feel for our generation specifically, why we love Nintendo so much, is because they're willing to do that, to take that risk.
And for good or for ill, and you've said it. I mean, we've experienced, Nintendo trying to innovate and having it falling flat on their ass. The Wii U, and for example,
and this was fine back in PS1 and the PS2 era, just because Nintendo never really wanted to do the shooters and the sports games and the racing games and the things like that. Whereas Sony and Microsoft were more than willing to do that because they were, generally speaking, tech companies already. They already worked with the racing games or the racing technologies and the gunplay and things like that, because that was like they already had experience with. But now that Sony and Microsoft are 13, 15, 20 years old in the video game industry, they're starting to realize that they need to do more innovation, do more exploration, do more things than just running and gunning and shooting and what have you. And I think that's probably the reason why we're seeing this push for VR, because it's something new for Sony to explore.
Yeah. And I think you're right.
And I think VR is not there yet. I think it needs to come down in price more. I am also waiting for a AAA studio to make a VR game that's not more than 3 hours long.
Yeah. though.
But like once we see an RPG in a VR setting, and I don't mean Skyrim, because holy fuck, it's Skyrim. We've played this game already. Like, give us a new role-playing game. Like, here, Brian, can you imagine playing a game that looks like the Breath of the Wild in a VR setting?
I could.
Like, just imagine like some gorgeous landscape, and with some really good like swordplay and maneuvering and some magic and like a really in-depth story, and it's all in first person. Like as in like, this is your story of maybe you're some generic hero that you can customize and create in character creation and things like that for the starting off with. But like maybe you even do something like an MMO kind of thing. Like, you make a character in a giant MMO and it's a VR MMO. Like, with some really good gameplay, and like the entire thing is being told and experienced in first person. Like, there's things that can be done in VR that I feel could push the game industry to new heights. People just need to be willing to take the risk. And I think it's only now people are willing to start. People are going to begin taking said risk. Because it's the, I don't say age-old idiom, but it's the notion of the Darwin survival of the fittest. To survive, you must evolve, and the video game industry needs to evolve.
Well said. All right, do we have any final thoughts on this E3 before we put this episode to bed?
Ow, my wallet, ow, my wallet. For God's sakes, my wallet.
Think of our money. We like our money. We don't want to, we don't mind giving it to you, but ow, our wallet hurts oh so much.
Alrighty then. Now, for you out there on the internet, if you have any questions, comments, thoughts on this episode or any other episode of downloadable content, you can get a hold of us through the feedback button on our website, dlcpodcast.com. Drop us a line. Every single episode is there for your listening pleasure. Also, all episodes can be found on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, and Google Play Music as well. So it is all there, dlcpodcast.com. So, this is the last episode to be recorded before we take a summer break. There are still a couple of more episodes in the queue that will follow this one, so you're not going to be completely left in the dark for a few months. So we will get back to recording new episodes when the autumn rolls around. I have some ideas cooking in my brain as to what those episodes will be, but when they show up, they will be on the website in the upcoming recordings section. There'll be an announcement on Facebook and Twitter as well regarding that. So, everyone out there, be sure you have a wonderful and happy and fun and lovely summer. And that's what I plan on doing anyway. So... On that happy note, I would like to thank Ron and Nick for being on this episode with me. Thank you, gentlemen, for your wonderful commentary.
You're welcome.
No problem.
And on that, I am Brian. Have a good summer, everyone. We'll see you probably in September. Have a good one, all.